Reimagining Success, episode 348. And this one is for you. If you've ever felt like you should be posting more, which I think is most of us, shouting louder or, contorting yourself into a personal brand that you don't even like. Maybe you're being consistent-ish with your posting, but not quite getting the results that you want. And you're wondering if it's even worth it. So this is for thoughtful experts, values-led leaders, and the strategic business owners who want to be known for something real, not just noticed for a viral moment. Welcome to Reimagining Success, the podcast that helps you build a profitable business as an independent expert, one that works for you and your lifestyle. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg, former corporate insider turned business mentor, executive coach, and mum of two. Whether you're a solopreneur, a coach, speaker, consultant, I'm here to guide you in creating a business that gives you freedom, flexibility, and the fulfillment you're looking for. Ready to redefine success and build a business that you love? Let's get started. There's this myth, I think, that visibility means volume. That the whole online world is set up to tell us, maybe the whole capitalist world is set up to be all around more, right? But it's telling us to show up more. And there's an element of truth in it. Let's just call out that elephant in the room first of all, because we've always known that people need to see us more than once, obviously, to buy from us. And, it's very unlikely these days that they'll see one incredibly crafted post from you and then go, oh my goodness, I must give you all my money and work with you. So sorry to bust your bubble there. There are lots of stats, and I learnt these back in my marketing days in corporate, 20 years ago. Daniel Priestley talks about the 7-11-4 formula. So you need to spend at least 7 hours worth of your time with your audience. So it could be, videos, interviews, podcasts, and so on. They need to have 11 interactions, 11 points of contact with you, and across 4 different platforms. Someone else on LinkedIn the other day said it was, I think they said it was 28.8 interaction. I think it was Advita Patel, a colleague who's been on this podcast as well. Who said that we need to have, almost 30 interactions with someone, right? So it's easy to think that it's all about volume, and that's all that matters when it comes to visibility. And so we get caught up in trying to do more and more and more, while we're also trying to deliver our client work, take care of children, take care of our fitness, mental health, maybe relationships with partners, hobbies, who knows what else. And of course, we're actually running the business. But the truth is that, actually a lot of the most successful people I work with aren't actually the ones with massive followings. And I've just hit 12,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is great. I am putting attention there, not to get more followers, but I'm obviously trying to position myself, attract certain opportunities that I'm working on. My Instagram, I think, is stuck around 2,000. I don't grow my Facebook group anymore. I don't have a massive following, and yet I still have a business. So, having authority, having credibility, and selling to clients, especially to corporate clients, I should say, especially B2B, doesn't require you to be viral, just to put that out there. But on the other hand, my approach of, I suppose you could call it a more quiet authority, doesn't mean being completely invisible. What it means is we are intentional with what we do, what the message is, where we put it, and so on, right? So I'm in groups in my own group, and I'm in another group for speakers, Mic Drop. We talked to Alex on the podcast a while ago, Alex Merry, who runs the program. And there's a big piece on building your thought leadership in LinkedIn. And while it's useful to get all these tips on the hooks and the hacks and another word, how to repurpose content and post things that are going to get more reach, and you've got to time it there and make sure you get the comments and all these things. Again, there's a nugget of, I wouldn't say wisdom, but usefulness to that advice. But the LinkedIn spiral, and we'll deep dive on this next time, because I think this is something, I know it's something I'm seeing more and more, is that we end up chasing likes, tweaking headlines again and again, overthinking the post, and of course getting really upset when it's sort of tumbleweed blowing in the wind. I had a colleague in the group who said, oh my goodness, I've had no one comment or see the post even within the first X minutes. And I think, okay, maybe we shouldn't be sitting at the computer watching, I've just posted something on Instagram and oh my gosh, it's my best work and it's going to land so much. And then getting really upset when nobody's actually seeing it or commenting and so on, right? We post, we comment, we engage, and then we go on with our lives. Because what actually drives business? Yes, we need eyeballs, which are a lovely picture to have in your mind. We need eyes on our business. We need people to know that we exist. And one of my bigger focuses now is on growing to some extent, because I'm at a point where I would like to, push the boundaries a little bit of what's possible for me. But what really drives the business then is having conversations, is people trusting you, is understanding, having clarity on what it is that you do and how you can help. And of course, that dreaded word consistency. And consistency, again, unfortunately, can lead us to think that, oh my gosh, we have to post all day, every day. And that's not the case. Let us celebrate the lurkers. And maybe I should have a whole episode or post around celebrating the lurkers, because they really matter. Most of your ideal clients won't engage. They're going to be silently following you and then reaching out. I have a client in the accelerator who said, because of the sensitive topic that she's coaching people on, her ideal clients, are not the ones who are going to be going, oh, amazing post, oh my gosh, fantastic, you're so right. And even worse now, of course, the AI comments that we get. And I hold my hand up, I did that for a brief moment. It's just not adding any value. It's just not worth the couple of seconds you save. So these days I put a thoughtful, it's very human post on people's posts if I do want to support or ask or add my value. So if it's a sensitive topic, people might not comment. They'll just reach out when they need you. If it's, HR, L&D, or someone in corporate leaders, they're busy. They're also not sitting there watching every post and go, oh my gosh, this is such a resonant post, I must comment on Anna's post and then buy from her. No. So they're not going to be posting. And actually, possibly, we could say that our most ideal clients are not ever going to be the ones who post, because for most of us, the ideal client who can afford us and is already thriving and doing well, we're just going to take them to the next level in whatever area, are the ones that are busy working, earning money, hopefully, living their lives, and not sitting there chasing the algorithm. So it's a bit of a, rude awakening. But often the ones who are commenting on our posts are experts like us who are equally just trying to get some visibility. And that's fine. There's a place for that. But again, it's not going to be sort of the biggest driver. It's certainly not the only driver of your business. So yes, visibility is an important strategy, but we shouldn't just perform it. I could have just posted every day for months and ticked that box and commented on whatever else. But if no one's bought from me, not so helpful. Yes, there are people who only want to grow their awareness. Maybe they don't care about having a business and so on, but that's not us. We're trying to earn money with this. Okay, so if visibility is your strategy, we need to start with positioning. We need to understand, okay, who is our ideal client? What do we want to be known for? And who needs to hear it, right? You can start with either thing. So we can start with the client, who do we really want to work with? And then elevate up to thinking, okay, where do they need help? More likely, I would suggest you start with actually, what do you want to be known for? Probably it's from your own experience, a pivot, a transformation you've gone through, and then you have this message, and then you can turn outwards and think, okay, who needs to hear that message? Okay. So we'll talk about that soon again, but having what I call a signal sentence. I know the elevator pitch kind of concept is one that turns people off, but having a sentence that signals to your ideal client, to the person you're talking to, it goes beep, 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 beep in a lovely tone. Whether it's something to aha, ba-ching, lots of sounds today. This is something I want to listen to. Oh, I know exactly who you should talk to. Or, oh my gosh, I need this. I want to talk to you. So having that signal, really confidently owning, this is what I do. This is who I help. Do you know someone? Is super, super key, because if you can't articulate that, then no amount of content is going to convert. And if I'm posting one day about well-being and the next day about leadership, yes, those two things are connected, but there needs to be a red thread, a through line through all of that. If I'm doing well-being, then leadership, then I'm trying to think of other topics. I'm so in my own world that I can't think of anything. I don't know, weight loss, and then AI, and then oceans, it's not going to really build that consistent message. People are just going to ignore, basically. A confused mind says no, as the saying goes. So having that clear positioning, and being able to articulate that in a signal sentence. And then the second thing, which I've talked about for years since my corporate days, I was in digital content marketing, and I worked with the teams to develop their content strategy. Because at the time it was very much just kind of channel based. It was just, hey, here's the website and we'll put our advertising on there. So we took a step back again, understanding, okay, who are you trying to reach? So we have that in one bubble. And then what's the overlap between what they want and, in the other bubble, what you and your business want, right? So that's really going to be your compass for the kind of content you want to put out there that ladders up to your message. And within that, without going into too much detail, we'd have 3, 4, usually 5, I like content pillars to really anchor your presence, anchor your message. So in the past, and I've strayed a bit from that as my business has expanded, but I've been really focused on my 5 pillars of a profitable and enjoyable business, as the book calls it. So my book, Outside the 9 to 5, my course, the Business Academy, it was all based on my 5 pillars, and it's still very much the foundation of the work I do, and with entrepreneurs, with solopreneurs, independent experts, and so on. And the first one is your definition of success. The second one is cultivating confidence and resilience. The third one is building, or choosing actually, the right business model. The fourth is building an effective personal brand, and the fifth is designing flexible work-life integration that works for you. So you can see how, even if other people, you don't know that I have those pillars, it guides me. I can, in the past, again, I did 2 months on your big picture version of success. That might be December, January, because people are kind of thinking of, okay, what are my career goals right now? How am I going to change next year? And then it's maybe mindset for 2 months, then it's business model for 2 months, it's personal brand for 2 months, it's work-life integration. You can also weave them together. And for me, it's really worked to keep them a little bit separate like that. It means that someone, let's say, catches the podcast. Hello, if you find this one interesting about visibility, the good news is there'll be, 3 more podcast episodes in the coming weeks on visibility too. So you can sort of binge that and then potentially reach out to work with me, or go on your merry way and implement what you've learned. So having those content pillars really helps to anchor your presence and helps you not to stray too far into other areas. And I was talking to someone in the recalibration sprint program that I ran recently, and she loved that we said, you know what, this is not forever. This is just for now. So for this month, or even better, for this quarter, for the next 90 days, this is my client I'm targeting. This is the offer. And this is the message. And that just makes it so much easier. Then, of course, you can get into more detail of, okay, Monday is I do a poll, Tuesday is a story, Wednesday is a carousel, whatever it is. Again, coming too far down the LinkedIn rabbit hole. But that gives you a guide, so you don't have to wake up in the morning and go, oh, what am I going to post? And get stressed and spend far too much time on it. So yeah, visibility as a strategy, not performing visibility, not getting caught up in just more in volume. It is important, but it needs to be intentional. I think you'll agree with me when I say that what people don't need these days is more content, especially with AI. We can just ask any old question and get all the knowledge and information we could possibly need, more so than ever before, even before we had Google, right? What they need is a reason to trust you. They need to be able to get you, and that's the personal piece of the personal brand, right? They need to be similar enough and empathize and see that you empathize with them. They need to be able to find you. So the visibility is important. You need to be in the places where they are, or they're looking for you. Yes, you do need to be consistent. You need to be clear. That's what builds authority. But don't trade your integrity for impressions. And I cannot emphasize that enough, because the people I work with are so smart, competent, ethical, deep in their work. And yes, there's an element of playing a bit of the game in order to get the visibility, but we don't want to lose ourselves in that and start playing the game which we don't even want to play, which probably won't even get us the results, and just distract us from making the impact that we actually want to make. Okay? So I know it's hard, but if we take a breath, remind ourselves it's not just about visibility in terms of volume and noise. It's actually about becoming known. In fact, someone said it to me the other day very well. He said, look, I don't want to be a thought leader. I just want to be respected within my space. And I want to run a business as an expert, right? So that's what most of us, in my world at least, want to do. I keep saying I don't want to be a Simon Sinek or a Brene Brown. They're amazing. I mean, Brene Brown, my goodness, what an icon. I love her work. But the true visibility that comes with that, the huge focus and so on, that's just not, at least for now, what I'm looking for. What I do want is to be really known and be a kind of go-to expert in my particular area, right? Whether it's a particular audience of solopreneurs who are building differently. It's about recalibrating how we work and lead, so leaders who want to lead differently. There's this space of redefining success, work-life integration, putting life and family first, and so on. If I can have my name be raised and mentioned in those circles, if I can maybe go to some conferences and speak, if I can be brought into organizations to talk about it, and if I can work, through my accelerator and one-to-one and so on with people like that, then happy days for me. And again, if we're not looking to earn, 10 million and build an empire and get VC funding, whatever, we're going to be able to build that business without going viral. We're going to be able to build it with real conversations, real quality engagement. So again, deep breath, reassuring you don't need those huge numbers to have a thriving business, but we do need to be intentional to make sure that the stuff we are doing is landing. And it won't be perfect all the time. And that's why there is an element of volume, because of course, as we post more, by now, I don't worry too much about an individual post because I know it's just one sort of piece of the tapestry, one piece of the puzzle. So again, just don't trade your integrity for impressions. You won't do it intentionally, but it can happen accidentally, unfortunately. So look, if this resonates and if you want to grow your visibility without sort of faking it, without burning out, we do this work in the accelerator. The doors have just closed for this intake, so we won't be opening for a few months. I also work one-to-one in my authority accelerator. So it's one-to-one container, but we can really work on your personal brand, getting clear on what you want to be known for, formulating all these things I've talked about, your signal sentence, your content compass, your messaging matrix, and so on, and really coming with that intentionality to what your definition of success looks like within this space, and to building that one piece of the puzzle, one part of the tapestry at a time, without getting caught up in the all the noise and algorithm madness that's out there. Okay. So you can book a call with me to talk about that, onestepoutside.com/call. And I will be back next week again to talk a little bit more about LinkedIn, the LinkedIn spiral, and how we can show up when we're overwhelmed by the algorithm and the pressure to be on there. Okay, I'll see you then.
Building a strong personal brand is important whether you're a freelancer, an entrepreneur, or an employee. If you'd like help getting clear on what you want to stand for, mapping out how you can amplify that message, and stepping up as a true leader in your industry, get in touch. You can book a call at onestepoutside.com/call. That's onestepoutside.com/call.